What do you say to the people that say Hollywood is dead, it's too expensive to make movies?
I mean, sadly, there is some truth to that.
We're always hearing about how the cinema is on the brink of death, but actually, for the first time in a while, 2026 looks really good. So open your calendar apps on the side, cause this year you'll have a lot of movies to attend.
Guess I'll see you in the movies.
I'm really excited for GOAT. It's an animated sports film produced by and starring Steph Curry. It's about a small goat who wants to be a basketball player, but the sport is dominated by the biggest animals and it's unlikely that a small goat will make it. If you know Steph, you already get it. He was the underdog and became one of the greatest players of all time. There's something powerful about this story being told by someone who actually lived it at the highest level possible. As a basketball fan, I'll definitely watch this film. Even if you're not into basketball or sports, if you like underdog stories, this one's for you. Wuthering Heights is getting a new adaptation, starring two of the objectively hottest people on the planet. It's written and directed by Emerald Fennell, who is known for bold, weird, creative choices, so it's safe to assume this won't be a faithful adaptation. It's going to take some kind of turn, and it will be controversial. I'm not sure how good it will be, but I'm sure it will be fun to witness. And I'm even more excited to see how people react once it's out. This one might set the internet on fire. The Bride looks like Frankenstein mixed with Bonnie and Clyde. Although we see a new Frankenstein adaptation every year, this one looks more fun and I'm really excited to see Jessie Buckley take the lead as the bride. I don't even need to talk about Christian Bale, who might be the greatest actor of all time. The director is Maggie Gyllenhaal. She gathered all her friends and husband for this movie. Sometimes when the directors and the cast have a lot of fun on the set, the end product ends up reflecting their joy and feeling much more genuine than you might have guessed. Considering this is a comedy, this is definitely positive. The Devil Wears Prada 2 is a film about fashion, like the first film. Some guys don't watch these movies because it feels girly, but as a generic straight guy myself, the first one is one of my favorite movies of all time. If I had to give an example without any spoilers, The Devil Wears Prada has the same core with movies like The Devil's Advocate and Whiplash. It's also a lot easier to watch than these movies. It's about sacrifice, about making your own choices in life and not getting caught in the riptide. I highly recommend the first one, and if you like it, the next one might be just for you. The Mandalorian and Grogu not being the most anticipated movie of 2026 tells you a lot about the year. It's a sequel film to the most commercially successful Star Wars series of the Disney era. It will also shape the next era of Disney Star Wars after Kathleen Kennedy, because the next CEO of Lucasfilm, Dave Filoni, who will make creative calls for Star Wars' future, plays a huge part in this film. If this film is great, it will create the positive momentum for Star Wars to get past the Kathleen Kennedy era and look at a future with more hope for great shows and movies to come. Currently, except for Andor, most Star Wars fans are miserable and depressed about where the franchise is headed. Andor was one of the best TV ever created, but even with that, the numbers weren't great because of the negative momentum and people giving up on Star Wars. This is probably the most important Star Wars project for a long time. Disclosure Day is an awaited Steven Spielberg project. It's an original UFO story. Emily Blunt and Josh O'Connor are starring. The legendary composer John Williams, who is 93, is doing the score. If you don't know him, he's the composer for original Star Wars trilogy and many other classics. This alone is enough of a reason to watch this movie. If you like the themes and Steven Spielberg movies, this one will be a fun watch for you. Toy Story 5 is another sequel to the most popular animation franchise of all time. The main topic is the toys fighting the tablet and technology addiction of the kids. Although the film is directed at the kids of this generation, tech addiction will probably resonate with the OG Toy Story generation as well. It's a universal problem and we all need to control ourselves more. Considering how many people will watch this, it has a good chance to positively impact some lives and save some kids from screen addiction. I'm hopeful that it will also fuel some adults to start fighting their own screen time, starting from me. A Toy Story film is always fun, not much to tell. If you enjoy the franchise, this is an automatic must-watch. Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow is another movie that will be really important for a big franchise. It's the second movie in the DCU just after Superman and the first non-James Gunn movie of the franchise. He promised to liberate directors to show their talents and get a really good director to direct a movie of this style. Craig Gillespie is known for his movies with female leads like I, Tonya and Cruella. Millie Alcock is Supergirl, who is an up-and-coming great actor. Superman is someone who sees only good. Supergirl is a completely different story. She lost everything she had and is severely depressed, so it's going to be a very different style than Superman movie. If you like superhero films and DC, you might want to add this to your watch list. The Odyssey is the next film of Chris Nolan after Oppenheimer. The trailer caught some criticism on costume design, but if you're Nolan, you're allowed to ignore some stuff. The film is based on the oldest scripture we know and much more epic and historic compared to other Nolan projects. If you poll people on which film will be the best film of 2026 today, most people would probably say The Odyssey. The expectations are sky high. IMAX theaters started selling tickets a year before the film's release and they're already sold out. If you're going to go to only one movie in 2026, let it be The Odyssey. Spider-Man Brand New Day is promising to be the awaited our neighborhood's favorite hero Spider-Man movie. Tom Holland said he'll sign a new deal only if he can deliver on the legacy, and he wants to make a great Spider-Man film. He really liked Spider-Verse films, so he probably wants this one to be better, or at least on par with them. Hulk and Punisher will appear in this movie. Sadie Sink's role is still a mystery. I think this movie will be better than the last cameo soup. Clayface is easily the most different film in the DC lineup. It's a body horror, which is way outside of the usual tone for a comic book universe. If you're into horror, and especially if you're into Batman, this one might be the one to watch. It's expected to be set before the current DC timeline and will likely give us some backstory on Gotham and the new Batman. Hopefully, beyond just adding lore, it just works strong as a standalone film too. I had to include the Avatar film. Even after 3 delays, I'm still genuinely excited. The original creators of Avatar The Last Airbender are returning for this story, and if you haven't seen the original series, you're lucky cause it's easily one of the greatest shows ever made. This is the movie fans have waited for 2 decades, the gang together all in their primes. We will finally get more time with our favorite characters and kick off what's planned to be a full trilogy. If you've never watched Avatar, this is the perfect time to start. The Social Network by David Fincher is one of the top movies of this century, liked by both audiences and critics. If you look up, there are probably more than 100 videos on YouTube explaining how big of a masterpiece this movie is. However, The Social Reckoning won't be directed by Fincher. Instead, Aaron Sorkin, who wrote the first film, will write and direct, and Mark Zuckerberg will be played by Jeremy Strong instead of Jesse Eisenberg. It's not likely to be as good as the first film, but I bet it will still be solid. The Hunger Games Sunrise on the Reaping is focusing on one of the favorite characters of the franchise, Haymit's Hunger Games. After the original films, they did a prequel about President Snow's story. If you didn't know about that, it's not as liked as the originals, but I think it was worth watching. The book of this movie, however, is a lot more appreciated, and every Hunger Games fan I know loved the castings. I'm just a mere movie enjoyer of this franchise, but I like watching Hunger Games films. I'll definitely watch this film. A new Narnia film is coming this year. This one will also premiere on Netflix instead of theaters. Greta Gerwig is one of the most talented directors of this new generation. This will be her next movie after Barbie, which was a huge success. You know how people talk about Denis Villeneuve's Dune films? Like, they are the franchise, the Lord of the Rings of this generation. I would like Greta Gerwig to do the same with Narnia. The Narnia franchise is directed to younger audiences than Dune or Lord of the Rings, but she can evoke a unique fantasy franchise in this. She will direct at least 2 films, she's backed by Netflix with a good budget. I hope she delivers great films that will be remembered as classics. Avengers Doomsday is the follow-up movie to Endgame, and no matter how much embarrassing Marvel's stint has been lately, it is still probably the most awaited movie for theaters. Chris Evans as Steve Rogers, Patrick Stewart as Professor X, Ian McKellen as Magneto, and even RDJ is back as Dr. Doom. Marvel is throwing everything in their pocket and hope it sticks. Everything looks messy, and I'll be surprised if a decent movie comes out of this. Studios are trying to push Doomsday narrative for the release, but I don't think they understand what made Barbenheimer work. It was organic and the audiences loved it. Let's see if they can spend enough money to make it work. Save the best for the last. First half of the Doomsday, Dune Part 3 might be the best film of the year. This movie will be an adaptation of the second Dune book. As someone who has read the books, the second one is my favorite because it has a great satisfying finale that leaves you satisfied but keeps you thinking about it for some time. Also, the writer Frank Herbert wrote the second book after people really liked Paul and he didn't like that. Denis, knowing this, and making it more apparent that Paul might not be the hero people think he is, has the same fate. And I don't know if the third film will change that, but it will be exciting. Timothée Chalamet went bold for this movie. It will be the last entry of Denis Villeneuve's Dune trilogy, and I don't think he will ever direct a Dune project after this. So it will be a historic event in cinema history, with a chance to stamp Dune's legacy as one of the greatest trilogies of all time. Some other honorable mentions are Werewolf by Robert Eggers, a horror movie set in 13th century, The Moment, the Charlie XCX film, The Peaky Blinders movie, the drama/rom-com starred by two great actors Zendaya and Robert Pattinson, Project Hail Mary, a mysterious sci-fi starring Ryan Gosling, but I'm more invested in the movies I talked about and have less knowledge about these films. That's why I haven't mentioned them in my list. Let me know your most awaited films in the comments, and I'd really appreciate it if you subscribe.